Hello friends and fellow bibliophiles, welcome back to Kat's Novel Adventures. In today's video, I am sharing my second themed week for GarbAugust. I had a choice between Paperbacks from Hell or Vintage Smut, and I went with one of the Paperbacks from Hell. I chose Nightstone by Rick Hautala. Paperbacks from Hell are horror books that were published in the 70s and 80s, and Nightstone was published in 1986. I hope you enjoy my adventures this week with some vintage horror. It is the evening of Monday, August the 7th. I'm finally having a moment where I can sit somewhere quietly so I can update you on the book that I'm reading this week. I have chosen a paperback from hell, and it is Nightstone by Rick Hautala. Look at that cover. Isn't that great? Anyway, as you can see, I have tabbed my pages because this book is a chunker. It is 592 pages. So I decided to divide it by 7 days so that I can finish this book by the end of the week. That gives me, on average, about 85 pages per day. Well, I don't like to stop in the middle of a chapter. I like to have a stopping point, whether it's a subchapter, chapter, whatever. So I actually read to 92 pages today, and a lot has happened. The book starts in January of 1921. We have a prologue, and it is the Kinnavan family. They are Finnish, and they live in Maine. It's snowing. There is a tragedy that befalls this family. And then we are propelled into the future in June of 1986. We have the Inman family who are traveling from Providence, Rhode Island to Maine to live in the home of Granny Kinnavan. The daddy's name is Don, the mom is Jan, and they have a daughter named Beth. Well, Don's grandmother is the one that lived in the house, and at one time Don and his mom and sister lived in the house, but when Don was probably about 3 years old, then they ended up leaving. So they decided that since his sister could not sell the house, they would go ahead and buy the house. They wanted to get out of Rhode Island, and Don has an opportunity to teach at a local high school. Jan is a real estate agent, and she will eventually find a job. But they get to the house, and Beth gets sick. She gets deathly ill, and just something comes up on her. They just kind of chalk it up to her getting car sick from the long journey. They get into the house, and the house really does need a lot of repairs. The movers show up the next day, they get their electricity, and life is going on. Well, Beth finds this male wooden doll. She really likes it, but it just gives off some strange vibes. There's also some noises that she hears in the middle of the night, and Don tries to even stay up one night just to see if he can hear it. So they think maybe it's rodents or whatever. Well, then something very creepy happens to Don one evening in the middle of a thunderstorm. It really shakes him up. So Don's being affected by something at the house and around this quarry because there was an accident many years ago that is in his family history. But I'm wondering if he's affected because he is a descendant of the Kinnavan family, or I'm wondering if Beth is going to be affected because she's part of the Kinnavan, family as well. Right now, it's just a little bit of backstory about the family, a little bit about the house. What I like about the book is it takes place over the summer. There's the prologue, which gave us the background of the original house, and then we have over a span of the summer, June, July, and August, and then we'll have an epilogue to kind of wrap everything up in October. So I think it's the perfect summer read, and right now I'm enjoying it. You can tell that it was written back in the 80s just by some of the references and stuff, and there is even a Stephen King reference in there. But anyway, I'm off to a good start. I made my goal. I had 20 pages before Storm had sprints on her channel, and I went ahead and got my goal done during their first sprints. I'm excited because I am right on track. Good morning, everyone. It is Tuesday, and I wanted to give you a quick update about Nightstone before I head out to run errands. I made it to page 131 this morning. My goal for today is 171, which is quite doable. It's only 40 pages. This really is a quick read. Lots of creepiness happening still, a little bit of drama also happening, but Beth has an accident on the way back from swimming at the quarry with her parents. It, of course, includes some grout stone. So of course the stone is the key to everything. Don had an incident with stone, and now Beth is having an incident. The only person that has not had a supernatural situation occur to them or to them is Jan. Jan is out job hunting and doesn't like the vibe she gets from the manager at a real estate office, so she decides that she's just going to put her application in anywhere someone needs help, and she ends up at a restaurant, a Greasy Spoon, and she and the manager, Dale, have a little flirtation going on there. So not sure what Jan is thinking, because I didn't think she and her husband Don were having too many problems. I mean, she's not the happiest about all the repairs that have to be made on this old house, but not enough for her to want to be flirting with a younger guy at this restaurant. I forgot to mention yesterday, Don finds an album that belongs to his Grammy Kinnavan, and he brings it with him when he visits her at a nursing home, and his sister Susan's there as well. Since Susan understands Finnish, he is asking her to please translate the album, but Susan also warns him not to mention anything to Grammy about he and his family living at the house. She has very bad memories there because of all the tragedy that took place. So he only visits for a short time. Somehow she has some feelings that she's getting from Don, and it really upsets her, and the nurse has to ask him to leave. So he goes back home and, is working on the things around the house. But it is good, in my opinion, as far as the time period it's written. The only thing I really wish Don would please stop calling Beth Pumpkin, or not even Pumpkin, it's Pumpkin. I wish he would stop doing that. I feel like every time he talks to Beth, he refers to her that way, and the little girl's going to be 12 years old. But otherwise, it has the typical 80s vibes to it, 80s dialogue and references, but I don't know. That's what I guess makes it fun about, reading these paperbacks from hell. Anywho, gotta go. I'll update you in a little bit. Bye. Yesterday, I received a package in the mail from Bath and Body Works. I received this from my good friend Simon. He and I have been friends since the 10th grade. And he likes to send me some joy in the mail. And he knows I have been dealing with a few things lately. So he decided, instead of letting me pick out the scents, that he would go ahead and try to pick them out based on what I have previously said that I liked. But anyway, this is supposed to be my fall and Halloween foam soap that he likes to send me. I don't go through foam soap as fast as he does, but anyway, he sent me a bunch, so I'm curious to see what he has sent. So look, there we have it. So let's see what we got in here. I got some autumn s'mores, which is one of my favorites. I have gotten that the past 2 years. Raspberry green tea, it's a good one. Ghoul Friend, this is perfect for Halloween. So once we get into the spooky season, I can put that out. Endless Sea, that one sounds really nice. Chasing Fireflies. We don't have as many fireflies out here as we used to. I think it's because they spray for mosquitoes, but every once in a while we'll catch a couple of them in the evening. It's nice. Leaves, I believe I got that one last year and I liked it. And look at the pretty bottle. It's very textured. A lot of these are very textured. Then we have Autumn Foliage, which is gonna be awesome. And then last but not least, Vampire Blood. I got this one last year too. So out of all of these soaps, I have 2 of them that are Halloween, which will be perfect because I could put one in each of my bathrooms. And then I do have some fall scents, Autumn Foliage and Autumn S'mores. So probably I'll put the Autumn S'mores in my kitchen, and then I also have the Leaves one. So the Leaves and the Autumn Foliage will be for the bathroom for the fall. And then Raspberry Green Tea, Endless Sea, and Chasing Fireflies will just be whenever I run out of all these fall scents. I still have a couple of bottles left of my summer scents, so I'll get through those first. But can you believe that fall is just around the corner, and it is my favorite season of the year. So I cannot wait, especially if our fall brings us cooler temps, because we have been having a really hot summer. What's up, everyone? It's Wednesday. You know, Wednesday is becoming my new favorite day, and that is because Wednesday is the day that I sprint. And I love hanging out with y'all. I get some reading done or some productivity tasks done, but it's a fun time. At least for me it is. So I hope it's as fun for you as it is for me. Time for me to update though on Nightstone. I did get to my goal last night, but literally I finished, then I read a couple of pages of Fairy Tale, and then lights out. So I didn't, update last night, obviously, but I'm still liking it. I also read this morning, so let's see. I am actually on page 195, and my goal is to get to 255 by the end of the day. Since I am having sprints later, I will be reading, and I think I'll reach my goal for sure. Jan has decided that she is gonna plant a vegetable garden. She's using a rototiller to dig up the ground, and she makes a discovery. It's either an arm bone or a leg bone. So they're a little, put off by it. And he says, well, we don't know why this is here, but you can continue tilling this ground. So he's working in the cellar with a chainsaw and all this stuff, and he has a really weird experience in the cellar. Creepy in my opinion. I don't know about you, cellars and basements give me the willies, more so than an attic. What about you? Do you prefer an attic, or do you prefer a basement or a cellar? I don't know. The basement and the cellar gives me the willies. I don't know if that's because I don't have one and I do have an attic and my attic doesn't scare me. I don't know. It's a good question. Anyhow, Jan continues tilling, and she ends up finding this human mummified hand, and it's clenched and it's holding some beads in it. Looks very different than the arm or leg bone that they found earlier. So Don decides to call a local university, and he sets up an appointment to meet with an anthropologist so he could decide what's going to go on. The anthropologist thinks that it could possibly be an Indian burial ground. So that really could make a difference in what happens to the Kivinen family. I don't know. We're going to see what happens with that. Also, Beth has a birthday, and Don more so than Jan. I mean, Jan agrees finally, but Don and Jan decide they're going to give her a horse for her birthday, which is what she really wanted. But Don said that they can only get the horse once the barn is fixed. Don has another weird experience in the barn, which kind of creeped me out. There's an incident that happens when a local guy who deals with hay drops the hay off with his son. So creepy little incidences happening here or there. Again, it seems like the only people who are truly being affected are either Don or Beth. Now, Beth is still trying to recover from her accident that she had on the way back from the quarry, and she is totally obsessed with that doll and doesn't really do much of anything without the doll. Also, Jan has started her job at the Rusty Anchor. That's the restaurant that she's gonna be working at, and she is really attracted to that guy, Dale.
Ew, gross!
Don does not want her to work there, and he gets kind of angry with her, but Jan's like,
look, I don't want to be just a stay-at-home mom. I want to go out and earn some money, especially now that we have to get a horse. I'm going to need extra money for that horse or whatever.
I just wanted to share this passage with you about Jan's feelings on the first day when she's with Dale. They're in the office, and he's getting her paperwork and everything together. She slid the paper into her purse. While Dale was scanning through a stack of bills, Jan took a few moments to get a second impression of him. With a tingle of guilt, she realized that she was happy to see him again. Maybe a bit too happy, she thought. She liked the way he stroked the tips of his mustache when he was thinking. There was still that aura of unapproachable cool, but she was impressed at how obviously he was in control of himself and his restaurant. So, I don't know. Is there going to be some sparks flying at the Rusty Anchor? No way to tell at this point. But like I said, I'm on 195 and still enjoying it. Today's going to be a busy day. I'm about to film a book mail, book haul video later on this afternoon. I have an appointment, which I will tell you a little more about later, because nothing is set in stone at this point. And then we have sprints later on this evening. So until my next update, I hope y'all have a wonderful Wednesday. I made it to 300. I'm disappointed because they had to add a unnecessary sex scene with a peeping Tom in it, and the peeping Tom was disgusting in my opinion. When you first start the book, it makes it seem like the issue with the Kivinen family, the tragedy that happens to them in 1921, had to do with the fact that that tragedy, the boy who is in the tragedy, is what the supernatural element is. But now I'm finding out that it might be something different that happened prior to then. But it's just taking forever to get to the point. And then they have storylines that are like going here and there. And then you got this gross peeping Tom. I'm just like, I was liking it. And I would love it if they could just condense it down. I think that is my thing about horror. I don't like is the oddball sex scenes they throw in. Yeah, like my thing is, I don't have a problem with Don and Jan wanting to have hanky-panky. That's fine, because that's what married couples do. And I don't even think we would have known about them having their bedroom scene if it wasn't for this gross peeping Tom who comes there. I mean, I'm just like, why? Why would you include this? It was not necessary, especially since you didn't kill him. Like, my whole thing is the peeping Tom should have been like something terrible happened to him. Now, maybe he does get rabies down the line. I think he deserves it because he's gross and disgusting to me. But that's the problem with this book, is that you're being strung along and like nothing really action-packed is happening. I need something more. If you're going to build it up, something more has to happen. Happy Thursday, everyone. I am about to head out to Independence. I have to drop off some paperwork. I will give more details about that paperwork and what it involves a little later once everything is finalized. But last night I hosted sprints. It was Wednesday night, and hosted sprints so I could get some reading done on Nightstone. I actually met my goal and surpassed it, and then I read a little bit this morning, so I am on page 320. And I just have to say I am ready for it to be over with, because not much is going on that really speaks to the main plot of the story, which is supposed to be something to do with this Nightstone. I mean, some weird things are occurring and affecting Jan, Don, and Beth. There is now another character named Billy, who is a Native American that Don meets at a hardware store, and he comes over and he's affected by them doing a dowsing ritual to kind of see what's going on at the house, because they're unsure if there's an Indian burial ground there or not. There was an unnecessary sex scene with a peeping Tom that I got to last night that I wasn't too thrilled about, because it really had nothing to do with the story. So just too many pages wasted on that. I just think this book does not need to be 592 pages. It easily could have been condensed down to 250, because nothing much is happening. It's just taking too long to get to the main point of the plot. So I'm going to plug along because, one, I want to finish this book for GarbAugust. Two, this book is going to count for Big Book Summer as well as Summer Book Bingo. I am going to stick with it because I want to get credit for it, but I have to say, I just wish some more action would happen, because it's too much build up and then nothing is really happening. I want some scary stuff to go on. I want to know about this evil that supposedly is in this house, because if the evil is there, it's some lame evil. I endow you with just a vague initiation. Like, you could do it to me first, so I can show you what it's about. And a vague initiation could be like, howdy, what's up, you look great, whatever it is, positive, negative, whatever. And I am to embody a character and give you my where and when and some information about myself.
So create like a little monologue.
Yeah, it's pretty much. Like, it's to learn how to create a character for when you do an improv scene with someone.
Interesting.
Mm-hmm.
Okay. All right. Are you ready?
I'm ready.
Dude,
Ed, where have you been all my life? I have basically been driving around this parking lot for like 6 hours trying to get a date for the winter formal.
What an interesting choice. I like it.
Okay, so you ready?
Yes.
So you just want to try to, give us some information about you. Where are you? When? Whatever. Who are you? Okay.
Specificity.
Mm-hmm. You are late yet again.
Fisher, I can totally explain. I was on my way out the door, but then, like, I tripped over the dog, and then I ate it on the sidewalk, and then I had to go back in and, like, wash out my knees, and then put Band-Aids on, and then, like, my carpool was yelling at me from the street, and then I had to shut the dog back in the house and run out, and I know this is a really important day for school, but, like, I'm already gonna look terrible for the pictures, so, like, this was the best I could do.
Yay! Very good.
Happy Saturday, everyone. I am heading to Baton Rouge with my hubby. We're going to spend the day together. He needs some work boots, so we're going to stop at the boot store first, then probably get lunch. And I think we might be meeting up with Andrew for lunch. I'm not sure. He is in a meeting. I believe it's for his models that he's been putting together. Then also, we want to do some Halloween window shopping. And I have to go to Bath and Body Works because they have their fall and Halloween candles on sale. So I'd like to pick up a few of those. And I need to go to Second and Charles because they are having a sale on used books today. It's a penny a page and you can get up to 5 books. I also wouldn't mind stopping at a Barnes & Noble's if there's one close by, but if we don't make it to Barnes & Noble's, that's going to be okay as well. Last night, I was on Margaret Pinard's Fireside Chat. We were live for an hour and we had the best time. If you did not watch last night, I invite you to watch the replay. I'll leave a link in the description box below. We had such a great conversation. We chatted some, we had some work sessions. One of the work sessions included some improv, and we really did have some fun creating some stories and also creating some characters. I really enjoyed myself. I was super excited that she had invited me to be a part of her series that she's doing for the whole month of August. I was super excited. My friend Alicia was there in the chat, and I just really appreciate the support, Alicia. Thank you. Also, I have to update you on Nightstone. I have brought it with me because I am determined to finish this today instead of tomorrow. I am on page 542, which means I have 50 pages left, and then I will be finished, and I can't wait. Really and truly, some bad things did happen, especially to Billy and to Beth, and more mystery is being unraveled. 50 pages is not a lot. Good morning. It is Sunday, which is the last day of week 2 for GarbAugust. I want to share a few things that I picked up yesterday while I was out shopping, and I also want to give my overall thoughts on Nightstone by Rick Hautala. We had a fantastic day yesterday. Unfortunately, we were not able to meet up with Andrew for lunch. However, we did catch up with him over at 2nd and Charles. I also was able to go to a Barnes and Nobles. There was one in the same area where Albasha was located, where we went to go have lunch. So we just walked from Albasha over to Barnes and Nobles, and I got myself a copy of Paperbacks from Hell. So excited because I've had my eye on this book for a while, and after reading Nightstone, I wanted to dive in a little bit deeper, and I'm curious to see if I have read any other Paperbacks from Hell. Let's see what I picked up at 2nd and Charles. They had a sale yesterday where you could buy up to 5 books and you paid a penny a page for the books, which I thought was a pretty good deal depending on which books that you picked up. Now, I picked up 5 books, and since Barry was with me, I had him also pick up 5 books for me. I mean, there is no rule that says that he couldn't buy me a gift, right? So I want to share with you my 5 books that I got first. I'm super excited because I found some more Leslie Meyer mysteries. She's the one that writes the Lucy Stone mysteries. If you've seen my Friends of the Library book haul, you will have seen those books that I picked up for this collection. They're all about mysteries that take place around the holidays. I had to be careful because some of the Leslie Meyer books actually were cheaper than the number of pages. So the way it worked is you paid whatever the price was on the back of the book if it was cheaper than the number of pages, which made sense to me. But let's look at the ones that I saved a few pennies on. So the first one is the Christmas Carol Murder, and this one retailed at $3.50 and I got it for $2.97. Then we have the English Tea Murder, which was $2.85, but I only paid $2.83 for this one. I mean, I only saved, 2 cents? And then I got the French Pastry Murder, which was also $3.50, and I paid $3.12 for this one. I saved a little bit more money on Wicked Witch Murder because this one retailed at $6.50 and I paid $3.08, and I love this cover. It's so awesome. And then my last book for the sale was really the best deal of all for my stack. It retailed at $13.95 according to 2nd and Charles. I mean, it was much more expensive when it was first published, but this book looks practically brand new, and I got it for $3.70, and I was excited because I've been wanting to read this book ever since I read James McBride's memoir. Then the 3 books that I picked up, just whatever their cost was, and I got these just for what they would have sold for. I got the Easter Bunny Murder, which was $2.75. I also got the Chocolate Covered Murder, and this was $2.65. I don't know how they decide on the prices for these because they're all over the place. And then I got the Candy Corn Murder, which is $1.95. Now, the stack that Barry got, it ended up being $22.32, and they were all hardcovers, and I saved the most money in this stack. So the first one is a Leslie Meyer, Lucy Stone mystery called Invitation Only Murder, and it retailed for $12.95. I got it for $2.34. Then I picked up the Thursday Murder Club by Richard Osman, which retailed at $12.95, and I got this one for $3.55. I love Michael Crichton, and I was able to find a hardcover copy of Timeline, which they were selling for $7.15, but I got it for $4.43. I found a beautiful copy of The Mystery of Mrs Christie by Marie Benedict. This was going for $13.50, but I got it for $2.72. Great deal. And then finally, I got a really chunky book by Robert McCammon called Speaks the Night Bird. Now, what's funny about this is their price was $9.55 for this one, which it originally retailed for $27.95, but I was able to get this one for $7.26. So I didn't save a whole lot on this one because it is quite the chunker. So lots of pages, but still I saved a couple of bucks on this one as well. Now let me share the candles that I picked up at Bath & Body Works. They also were having an awesome sale on their 3-wick and 1-wick candles. They were buy 2, get 2 free. I went in and just purchased some 3-wick candles. I was a little disappointed because one of the candles I wanted to get was Sweater Weather. It is my favorite, and they had already sold out at that location that we visited. So I'm gonna have to keep my eye out when they have more sales later in the season. But I did get one that I loved from last year, and that is Honey Crisp Apple. This one smells really good. I can't wait to burn it because it's wonderful. It has golden honey crisp, apple blossom, and fresh sugar cane in it, and it smells delightful. The other 3 scents that I picked up are gonna all be new to me, and one of them I guess is just like one that they carry all year round, and that is Vanilla Bean. It's Madagascar vanilla, homemade marshmallow, and nutmeg, and it smells delightful. I also got, let's see, Cool Mountain Rain. This is Rain, Cypress, and Oud is maybe how you pronounce it, O-U-D. And I really like that subtle scent. And last but not least, I got Freshly Brewed Coffee. And oh my goodness, this smells like freshly brewed coffee. And I also like the package designs on the ones that are for the fall. So that is all that I got at Bath & Body Works. We did not pick up anything for Halloween decor because we were just window shopping and seeing what they had out there. The moment you've been waiting for, my final thoughts on Nightstone by Rick Hautala. You're gonna be surprised. I've cut Mr. Hautala some slack, despite the fact that this book is too long at 592 pages. It could easily have been 200 or 250. But I will say he redeemed himself in the last 50 pages, give or take. I think he could have cut out the whole Peepin' Tom scene because I thought it was disgusting and unnecessary. However, the Peepin' Tom gets what he deserves, so that was satisfying. And I also think that Jan did not need to go work at the Rusty Anchor because that whole entire storyline was a waste of pages. And I don't really think the characters were realistic in many of the places because they were so wishy-washy about what they were doing, or they would do one thing and then they would do something that was totally out of character, especially the relationship between Don and Jan, because Jan makes a decision that is not very good for her marriage, and when it is revealed to Don, he's basically a little angry and then, okay, let's have a cup of coffee and move on. But I really did like the way it ended because it wasn't a happy ending. And when Don finally figured out what was going on, then the story progressed. And then you didn't feel so badly about other incidences that happened in the beginning. I do think that if Mr. Hautala would have tightened it up and not spent so many pages on unnecessary storylines, that it would have made for a better story. I will also say that the marketing of this book is a little bit deceiving. That is not the doll. That is not the doll that Beth has. Beth has a wooden male doll that is probably a Native American artifact. Beth herself is kind of controlled by that doll, But the story really seems more about Don and all that he is struggling with to accept his family's legacy, I guess, and to figure out what these stones from the quarry really mean. But you're really not even 100% sure how this Indian burial ground got there and why it's there, and really who is controlling the doll that is controlling Beth. I don't know. So you're left with some questions. But overall, after reading this whole entire book, I have decided I'm going to give Nightstone 3 stars. And that is because that Peeping Tom got what he deserved. And the last 50 pages or so really did come together and made for a satisfying ending. Thanks everyone for stopping by. I really do appreciate you watching my GarbAugust adventures and everything I am up to in addition to what I'm reading for the week. What about you? If you're participating in GarbAugust, are you reading by theme? Or are you reading prompts from the bingo board? Or are you doing both? And if you're not participating in GarbAugust, what have you been up to this last week with your reading? Let me know in the comments below. In the meantime, stay amazing and be adventurous. And in the spirit of GarbAugust, be adventurously trashy.